Yo, what's up? Wytters Public Radio, 98.3 Washington Live. Today we invited 3 judicial executives to speak with us on the most influential cases of the 20th century, the Rodney King cases, otherwise known as Powell versus California and Coon versus USA. Here's Sarah Manning, the outline of the case.
Thank you, Camille. On March 3, 1991, 26-year-old Robert was in his car after a high-speed chase. He was then viciously attacked by 3 officers who were under the command of Officer Stacy Coon. The 3 officers who beat King were Lawrence Powell, Ted Bracetto, and Tim Lind.
The state of California accused Powell of racism and excessive force. As shown in the video filmed by George Holliday, King was hit in the face with a baton repeatedly by the officers. The defense attorney, however, said the wounds were from falling. The defense attorneys also put a boot on the stand to show the boot that the officers used to kick King wasn't strong enough to deal a bruise or even a serious wound. The video was dissected and showed by the defense in such a way that supported their argument that the cops were trying to keep King on the ground because he was dangerous and kept trying to get up. The prosecution used the whole video to their advantage and repeatedly stated how the officers allowed King to partially get up and then they beat him again. They said Powell dealt more than 50 blows to King. Melanie Singer was called to stand. She said that Powell dealt more than 6 blows to King's head. She also tearfully said, "It's a sight I'll never ever forget." Powell texted later, "I haven't beat anyone this bad in a while." When later asked by prosecutor Terry White about why Powell used the phrase beaten, Powell used the excuse professional police jargon. Mr. White also made fun of Powell, saying Powell's feet must have been frozen if he even let Kuhn partially get up. Kuhn took full responsibility for every blow, and once he gets it, the officers were trying to cripple King, and that if he stood up, they'd have to kill him. Stacy Kuhn makes or breaks his case, said Michael P. Stone, the lawyer for Officer Lawrence M. Powell. If the jury believes Stacy Kuhn, we all walk. If the jury doesn't believe Stacy Kuhn, we're all in trouble.
In total, 55 people were killed, nearly 2,000 were injured, 7,000 were arrested, and almost 4,000 buildings were burned, adding up to a total of $1 billion in property damage. The state of California accused Powell and the other officers of racism and excessive force. The media also played a huge role in the King case. Because of the massive amount of media coverage of the incident, the case was moved to Simi Valley in the first place. In fact, the violence erupted first at the intersection of Florence Boulevard and Normandy Avenue in south-central Los Angeles after the verdict was reached on April 29, 1992 of not guilty. This greatly upset the Los Angeles community. Rioters beat dozens of motorists and blocked traffic. The police were slow to respond, and the National Guard was eventually deployed at the request of Mayor Tom Bradley. Curfew was also declared. By the next morning, fires burned across the city, more than a dozen people were killed, and hundreds were injured. On May 1st, military troops and riot officers were deployed and brought the city back to control by the end of the day.
Later that year, 1992, Bill Clinton had been elected president of the United States. Throughout Clinton's campaign, he promised to get more involved in racial disputes. By getting involved, it would show that he kept his promises and he could maybe prevent the riots like the one in L.A. from happening again. Clinton took his chances and officially accused Kuhn and the officers of violating King's due process rights. While the jury was again mainly white in the second trial, they ruled in favor of King and charged all of the officers. The dissenting opinion of the case was that the original ruling was not conducted in a proper and just trial, and the officers deserved to be charged. This led to riots, and ultimately led to the Clinton administration stepping in. As the second verdict was announced, the riots ceased to happen, and all Americans, black or white, had learned to understand the differences and get along as one big country. The Rodney King case was never just a beating. It was a racial dispute, so the effect was much more prolonged. The mainly white jury of Simi Valley and the fear of more riots of the racial disputes over the mainly black O.J. case as well.
At WPR, we agree that with the dissenting opinion of the Supreme Court, the officers were excessively cruel, and they deserve to be charged.
King's impact affects the way we conduct trials even to this day, and it's important viewers like you learn about Rodney King.
Sure to tune in next time for a special cool program on Wytters.